What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR 365. What is going on? It is Monday. 'Twas the night before Questmas, and all throughout your house, your mouse was sleeping and your other mouse was playing with the Rift S or something like that. But anyway, guys, it's Monday. It is May 20th, and all hell is about to break loose in the next 24 hours. It is all Oculus all the time. And I am joined by special guest Short Power 24, also known as Gaming Science Teacher. Do you have any other names you'd like to use as well? Okay, wait, hold on. I'm not getting your audio. Okay, hold on, I gotta grab your audio. My bad, hold on, guys. Ruined the entire little intro. Okay. I didn't even try to grab. Okay, here you go. Okay, we got you now. Okay, so let's try that over one more time. Oh, hold on, I gotta lock this down so that's right. Okay. So anyway, guys, we're gonna start over with the intro real quick. Welcome, this is VR 365. I am flying by the seat of my pants. I am not ready from my encoder. Might have lost the stream. Maybe it's back now. Okay, maybe it's back now. You know what? My young teenage son just arrived. He's probably firing up Fortnite or something right now, and that's what happened. But anyway, this show's going to be a little bit crazy. But basically what we're going to do today is we have Short Power 24 on the line, also known as Gaming Science Teacher. And I was going to say any other aliases we should know about.
No, I was not chatting. I was lurking in your streams. I was not chatting because Google had my my YouTube account, just my real first and last name, and I didn't want to use that. But I have since created a separate YouTube account. I went by Gaming Science Teacher, so if anyone has seen me in the chat, that's what I'm going as.
Yeah, I'm just joking around. I think a lot of people know, like a lot of people kind of have come to the realization that you're one and the same. I'm getting some weird, I'm having some weird YouTube issues over here. So I don't know, those of you that are in chat that are actually watching this around the world out there, apologies if the stream is messed up. Like I was saying, my teenage son just arrived in the building, and I guarantee you he's probably on 4 different computers watching YouTubes and different things, got Fortnite running, and I'm totally screwed. And I could go over there and try to yell at him, but it's not even worth it. But anyway, what we're going to get into today, guys, is I thought basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to somebody on the eve of Oculus Day 2019, Quest Day 2019, and I wanted to talk to somebody that is hyped about the Oculus Quest, and I don't know of a better guest. You're obviously pretty hyped, right? I mean, you're less than 24 hours away from being able to check this all out in person, right?
Oh yeah, it's 17 hours from when I'm going to pick up my Quest. I'm super hyped. It's up to 11 right now.
Okay, I did want to say, folks in chat, let me know if I need to turn her volume up or down. I have her volume set at a certain level here, but I might need to adjust it a little bit. So, how are you getting your Quest anyway? Did you order it through Amazon or Oculus, or are you going to pick it up at GameStop, like I might, or Walmart or something?
I pre-ordered for store pickup at Best Buy. I've taken the afternoon off. Luckily, I don't have any classes on Tuesday afternoons, and I took the afternoon off, and about noon, there's a Best Buy actually on the way home. I'm going to be picking up my pre-order and jumping right into it.
Do you have any worries that, I mean, just you know how it is when you don't arrive the minute the store opens up to claim whatever your thing is? I mean, they're supposed to hold it for you, right? But I always have this irrational worry that, oh man, they're going to sell my crap to someone else, and then I'm going to get there and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I sold it to somebody right before you got here.
I'm not worried about that. I've seen some people on the Oculus Quest subreddit who are freaking out about that. I'm not too worried about it. I actually used to work at Best Buy, And I know that when you reserve things for pre-order or you purchase something for in-store pickup, um, they like remove it from their inventory. So I think there's a really low chance. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it's a really low chance that you would have one pre-ordered for store pickup and that they wouldn't have it when you got there.
Yeah. Did you is there so did you already like pay for it in full, or do you pay for it when you pick it up?
I put my credit card information in, and it. I'm not sure whether it was an actual charge or just a hold, but it went through. It actually made me like verify. I got a thing on my phone. It made me verify, is this, really you, because it was a large purchase amount. Um, and then 3 or 4 times over the past couple of weeks, I kept getting um, a hit on my credit card for just the price of the 2-year protection plan and tax. I'm like, why does this keep hitting it? It keeps showing as a pending charge, like it hasn't gone through yet. And then today, around 11 o'clock Eastern, um, the rest of it for the actual Quest went through. So I don't know what they're doing with my credit card, whether it's actually gone through or not yet, but that's what I've seen.
Okay. In chat, let's see, what did I see? Somebody said something I thought was interesting, and now I can't find it. Oh, kill the volume on the trailer. Yeah, I forgot I had the volume running on the trailer, so now we should be good with that. Oh no, somebody said, wait, tomorrow is the day we've all been waiting for. The day VR goes mainstream. That's Sparhawk. And you know what I wonder tomorrow, like if you're a PlayStation VR person, tomorrow means absolutely nothing to you. If you're a hardcore HTC Vive person, tomorrow absolutely nothing to you. If you're like just waiting for your Valve Index, tomorrow means absolutely nothing to you. It's funny how we're so hyped up for this day tomorrow and everything that might unravel, but it's basically all Oculus Central. So if you're kind of like not an Oculus person, not a lot going on for you tomorrow, right?
I think that it could be a little bit of a big deal for everyone else too. I mean, everyone's going to have what, Dance Central, and um, I guess Vader Immortal won't be available for everyone else. There's one more that's gonna pop up. What, Shadow Point, right?
Yeah, well, the Dance Central thing, I mean, I don't know if this has been confirmed anywhere, but I don't know that that's like guaranteed. I'm assuming it is. Like I'm assuming like it's my Nostradamus prediction is Dance Central will be available on Rift tomorrow and Dead and Buried 2 will be available on Rift
Right.
tomorrow. But I don't know, like it maybe not. And then of course there's other people that believe Stormland, like for example, Scott Kelly in chat right now says I think Stormland and Asgard's Wrath will release tomorrow. I don't think so, but it could happen. What do you think about that? Do you think there's going to be any surprise launches? I mean, do you agree with my personal prediction about like Dance Central and Dead and Buried?
Yes, I think what you're saying with those titles that were kind of um, maybe designed for Quest, um, like Shadow Point with Dance Central, Dead and Buried, but are also going to be on the Rift. I'm pretty sure there's going to be launching on the Rift tomorrow as well. And um,
I don't think, but like Stormland. See, here's the problem. Okay, so a lot of people think like Stormland and Asgard's Wrath. I don't think you release those games tomorrow because like they're gonna get lost in the I mean, they're so big that they won't get lost in the shuffle. But it's like you're kind of like cutting off your nose to spite your face or whatever the phrase is. It's like no, Oculus's marketing. First of all, I'm gonna say Oculus's marketing is freaking god awful. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And I know, look, I've said so many things about Oculus. I've never gotten anything free from Oculus. And the things that I say, I'm never going to get anything free from Oculus. I don't even get emails returned from Oculus. So I guess I'm just going to go all in the other way. And I'm just going to say that I think their marketing has been pretty craptacular. And it's almost like they don't know what they're doing. Now, well, actually, I'll just kick it over to you. What do you think? Am I crazy to say that their marketing is terrible? What do you think? Do you think they're doing a good job?
No, I'm still waiting to see because some people are thinking that Oculus is not going to try and do a big marketing push until it's available for purchase. So maybe they're going to flip the switch tomorrow. Maybe they're going to unleash billboards and commercials and this big ad campaign starting tomorrow. Or maybe they won't, and then I'll have agreed with you.
I'm talking more like, well, see, the marketing for the Quest is a different kind of a thing too. Like I don't believe they've been a disaster with their marketing for the Quest quite yet, because I think one of the things we have to remember is we don't know if there's going to be like if it's going to be readily available where anybody and their mom can just buy, like next Tuesday, can somebody just walk into a Best Buy and buy a Quest? I don't know that that's going to be the case. There might be there might be sellouts, so they might not have the supply. And then, so if you're going to be supply constrained for like, say, the first 6 months, you don't need to have a whole bunch of TV advertisements. You don't need to like bombard people with that type of advertising if you don't have the product to sell. Like, you want to have the TV advertisements when the shelves are filled with units so that people see the ads and then they go, oh yeah, oh, Oculus Quest, let me go to Best Buy, and then it's there for them to buy it. I don't know that they've been a disaster there. What I'm talking about being a disaster is it just seems like they don't really know exactly what they're doing. Like what do you think about the delay anyways? Okay, so the delay is basically over, right? Oh, somebody is reporting that on the French Oculus store, Dance Central is already on there. So it looks like Nostradamus Jr. strikes again. I don't know what the other game, though. There's Christoph Draken, a good old Super Nintendo game called Draken. He says on the French Oculus store, Dance Central, and what? The anticipation is killing us. But yeah, what do you think, gaming science teacher, about like, do you feel like the TV ads can wait until they've got shelves that are just stocked full of them?
Yeah, sure, that makes sense too. If all the pre-orders are kind of taking up the stock that they have, and maybe there's going to be a push for the holidays, I think that Quest could be a really hot holiday gift, and that might even be a slow burn. It might not even be until holiday 2020 that it's the big gift. So that would also make sense for them to wait on it a little bit and maybe not necessarily push it all right away.
Oh, looks like I spoke too soon. Do not confirm Nostradamus yet. Okay, Christopher Draken says, on the French Oculus store, Dance Central and Shadowpoint are marked as soon with no date. And Dead and Buried 2 is not even marked. Oh my God, the horror, the horror. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We don't know. See, I'm assuming, okay, so the Dance Central thing, my speculation on the Dance Central thing is there was a tweet that came out by somebody from Harmonix, I believe, and they were tweeting like, content creators, if you want to play Dance Central next week on Rift, or like they said something about playing Dance Central next week on Rift and Quest, get a hold of us. And I was like, and I actually like responded to the tweet and I was like, oh, great. Dance Central on Rift confirmed. Thanks so much for confirming it. I was joking about them confirming it, but it was almost like they accidentally did confirm it in the way that they phrased it. And so that's why I've always kind of thought Dance Central is coming. And then the Dead and Buried 2, I just assumed that the Rift version would be out the same day because it's got like this cross play feature. And so people could play each other back and forth. And then like, I believe you watched the F Reality podcast that just happened on Saturday, because I listened to it today and they mentioned Gaming Science Teacher a couple of times in chat. So I know you were watching it, right? And they were talking on that episode, they were talking about, they had mentioned almost as an afterthought that, oh, the Rift S is also launching on this day. Is there going to be a game that launches with the Rift S? And they were talking about how, the pictures were on the box and like these games got to come out. The pictures were on the box. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, because the Rift S is launching, that might make sense for like Stormland. But what you say about, you don't want that Stormland to be buried under the shadow of the whole Quest thing also makes sense. So I could see that going either way. With Dance Central, they just tweeted today a tweet that says Dance Central is out tomorrow. We'll be celebrating on a live stream, and they're not specifying a platform, but they tweeted saying that Dance Central is out tomorrow.
Okay. Well, let's just forget about all the rumors and innuendo anyway, because what we do know is that the Quest is out there. Some people have already been getting their Quests, some people are already getting their Rift S's. I've been at work all day and I haven't really checked Reddit too much or had a chance to look at it. So I'm not sure, like, if somebody got there, like, if you had your Quest right now, is there anything you could do with it? Or would you have to wait until like midnight for like a software drop to go through?
It's weird. I've seen some people on the Quest subreddit who got that Walmart early shipping mistake, and they've had a brick of an Oculus Quest for a while, and it seems like a few days ago they were able to start doing some things with them, but not everything. Um, I guess somehow the people who have them, like press versions of them, have access to more, but people who just like got one that Walmart accidentally shipped early, the people were able to get a few things on them, like some of the setup demos or like the Beat Saber demo, but they can't get everything. So that's an interesting situation.
Yeah, it'll be nice when we can get all this stuff tomorrow and relax and kick back and enjoy it. Have you been watching like all the streams everywhere of people streaming this and people streaming that? I'm kind of worried for you, gaming science teacher, because I believe you're kind of addicted to all these shows. And I'm worried that you're almost going to have too much information and you're not going to be able to just enjoy this like a little kid on Christmas.
Yeah, I'm aware of the fact that certain things might be spoiled for me. Um, so I have been gobbling up information like the podcasts, your show, um, uh, things that are kind of like news and information related. But I have been avoiding a lot of the gameplay stuff because I don't want a whole lot of it to be spoiled, and I've already had enough things spoiled in, years past of the, 3-ish years I've been following VR and watching videos all along, never thinking that I was ever actually going to participate in it myself. I would watch full Let's Plays of certain games. Like the first level of I Expect You to Die, the car level, I know it inside out. It's spoiled for me. It's done. Um, and I was just thinking, I'm kind of lucky that I forget some of the other levels that I've seen. I've seen people play beyond that level, but I don't really remember what the puzzles are. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely avoiding that and staying as far away from it as I can so I don't spoil that for myself. Um, and yeah, I've been trying to avoid some of the streams of or videos of gameplay.
Yeah, like I'm staying so far away from Vader Immortal. Like I can't even believe that they're like showing videos and stuff of Vader Immortal because it's like, dude, it's only like 45, 50 minutes in the first damn place. Like I want to savor, like I don't even like the fact that I've seen like trailers of it practically because every little second of that is going to be pretty precious, right? Actually, wait, don't answer that. Let's go into something else. So you're in such an interesting situation because you don't own a PlayStation VR, you don't own a Rift, you don't have a Vive. You've played, I know, cardboard a little bit, right? You may
Yep.
have screwed around with a couple little headsets here and there and seen a few things, but this is like a brand new thing for you. But it's so weird because your first VR headset you're going to own, Girillo in chat says, "What makes her special?" They're talking about you. Well, I don't know. What makes you special, gaming science teacher? No, what makes her special is, I don't know. What does make you special? It's a female voice, first of all, because like on this show, we're mostly male dominated. And so it would be nice to have a female voice every once in a while. And we brought you on a number of months ago, and you've got an interesting angle. I mean, who's special anyway? Like, is any of us special? So I guess we can move off of that topic. But what was I going to say here? So what I'm talking about is you're going to be trying this headset. You're buying this headset. You're going to own your first VR headset. And you're immediately jumping into the most frictionless VR headset we've ever had in the history of VR. And you're immediately jumping to that. Do you feel like you're kind of missing out on like going through the trials and tribulations of having a PlayStation VR and dealing with the tons of cords and having like, dealing with like Steam or dealing with problems with your audio or all these different things?
I hadn't thought about that until I heard you mention it, that it's kind of like I haven't like paid my dues of dealing with the sensors and 50 different USB ports um, and updating hardware drivers and figuring it all out. And that I'm just going to get the nice, like you said, frictionless, just slipping on my head and slip in and out VR whenever I want to. But I'm not complaining about that.
Yeah, it's not that you have to go through, like, you didn't pay your dues, man. You don't deserve this. You need to start off with an Oculus Go for a year. No, but you don't have to pay your dues, but it's almost like I almost feel a little bit bad for you, though, that you haven't paid your dues, because it's kind of like if for example, like you grew up in the 1880s and you always, like, everybody had horses and carriages and stuff, and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to sit on a horse. And then you wait around until Ford makes the Model T. And then you're like, okay, now I'm going to get into this mode of transportation and I'm going to start driving around.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's like.
But yeah, no, it's cool though. It's going to be super cool. What about this though? Is there any worry that this has been so hyped beyond belief and you've been so interested in VR for so long and you're finally getting it tomorrow? At some point, do you think you're just going to like take the headset off and you're going to sit down and you're going to be like, it's not that great, or it's kind of cool, or, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you're going to react to it all.
I'm not sure, but even if I'm, I don't know, not completely blown away by the VR itself, um, I know I'm really excited for these games. Like I'm positive I'm going to love Beat Saber. I really enjoyed Dance Dance Revolution for a while back there, and I can just tell by looking at it. I'm just gonna, really enjoy something like Beat Saber. Um, and just seeing a little bit of something um, like Shadow Point, and that it's an interesting story. It's got these really cool puzzles. Um, I think they're going to all be games that I'm going to enjoy anyway. So, um, yeah, I'm hoping I'll be blown away, but I'm not too worried about being let down or anything.
Yeah, well, let's talk about games for a second, because so you're buying this headset. Like, Oculus isn't sending you a headset, right? I mean, I don't know. They're sending a lot of people headsets, so who knows? Maybe they sent you one. Um,
Nope, I'm paying for it with my own money.
okay, and you have to buy all the games, right, yourself.
Yep.
So it's got to be okay, actually, wait, let's back it up. 128 or 64, and why?
I'm going 64 gig. And when I found out it was $100 more, I was like, I can't swing that. I can't swing $100 more for extra storage. And I know that you've said that you kicked yourself for going with the smaller Go. And I know that I'm going to be into all these games and that it'll be a pain if I have to delete games to put new ones on. But when I found out it was $100 difference, I was like, I can't swing that because I know I want to have the 2-year protection plan from Best Buy, and I want to have games and I want to have accessories, and that's all going to tack onto the price. So that kind of made the decision a little easier for me to just go with the 64 gig.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the 64 gig, you made a good choice actually, because I mean, I'm even debating myself now whether or not do I really need to do this 124 thing. I'm like fighting with myself back and forth about it, because one of the worries I had with the 64 gigs was 20 of it was going to be used for the operating system. So I was worried you're only going to have 44 gigs, but that's not the case. I've heard that like you still have like 52, 53 gigs, and that's with like demos and stuff all loaded onto it. So the operating system is not taking up as much of the 64 as I thought it was. And so I think you'll be okay. You're a civilian. You're going to be okay.
Yeah, I also saw all the reported file sizes, and there's a handful that approach 3 gigs, and a lot that are 1 gig or less. So altogether, it looks like you're going to be able to have a decent number of games and apps on there
Yeah,
at the
I
same
do.
time.
Well, in regards to the sizes of the games, I know that like what Face Your Fears was like 2.7 gigs or something like that. And so they've all kind of been under 3 gigs, but I do believe as time goes on, I think we're going to start seeing some 4 gig games, some 5 gig games. But the thing is, like, you can just look at it this way. You're going to be able to put like 20 games on there at least. And are you really going to be actively playing more than 20 games at a time? Like going back to your time as a gamer on all kinds of other platforms, would you juggle a lot of different games simultaneously and kind of dabble in all of them? Or were you kind of like, oh, I just got this game and all I'm playing is Pokemon, Pokemon, Pokemon. I'm going to play this Pokemon game and then I'll go to something else some other day?
That's a really good thought. I will usually pick one or two at a time that I'm into. I'm not spreading myself thin. And especially, now when I'm teaching, if it's the school year, I'm hardly gaming at all. But then in the summer, I'll usually have maybe 2 things that I'm into in a given summer. And last summer I was playing Subnautica, playing it flat, of course. But I got into that, and then I wasn't dabbling in a whole bunch of games. So yeah, you're right that you're probably not going. Most people are probably not going to be wanting to have a whole bunch of different games on there all at once.
I actually dabble a little bit myself. Like if I was just a regular Joe Schmo and I was getting an Oculus Quest and that was going to be like my thing, I would probably want like 5 or 6 games and I would dabble between the 5 or 6. But even then, you're going to have plenty of space. So it's not a problem. I think you're going to be okay with the 64 gig. The only time it's going to become a factor is when you keep downloading all kinds of little like video things, and then eventually it's going to load up, and then you're just going to have to like look at stuff that you don't watch it anymore, and then you'll delete it. You'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. But another question I have for you, let's talk about the Best Buy protection plan.
Hmm.
Was there, because a lot of times normally I would say don't do that. Don't get a protection plan. I mean, I'm not sure how much they're charging for it and all of that, but normally I would say don't do that. But with the Quest, with the possibility of getting sunlight, see, I don't know, but would they cover that? What if you, like, for example, let's say you have your Quest in a bedroom and it's like laying on a bed or something, or it's on some chair somewhere, and there's no sun anywhere around. But then, like, if you lived in a house with other people and someone goes into that room and they, like, your mom's visiting or something, and she goes into your room and she's like, oh, I got to clean these windows, and she pulls the window up and she has no idea about any Quest and any sunlight or anything, and then sunlight hits your Quest, would that be covered under that Best Buy thing, or is that excluded from it, or do you know?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I wasn't sure before I actually put my pre-order in, but when I put my pre-order in and then I added the 2-year protection plan to my cart, it, like, when I go and look at my pre-order now, it's showing 2-year accidental damage Geek Squad protection. And when it's accidental damage, then that includes things like um, burning your screen, includes dropping it, spilling it. Not that those are the things I'm worried about. I'm just worried that something just fails or goes wrong, and there's nothing I can do. Um, One of the reasons that I went for it is, um, I don't want to I don't want to get a refurbished Quest if something goes wrong with it, because you do have a 1 year warranty from Oculus, right? But if you take advantage of that during that first year, you have to ship it to them and they ship you one back, and it's going to be a refurbished one. I don't want a refurbished one that was on someone else's head. It's going to gross me out. I want mine back, or I want a new one. And with the Best Buy plan, you just walk into a store and they usually don't ask any questions. Um, and you hand them the broken one and they hand you a gift card for the price of a new one, and you just buy a new one off the shelf and walk out with it. So it makes me feel a little bit better. Obviously, it's up to everyone's decision as to whether it's worth it, because you might spend it was $80 for the 2 year protection on the 64 gig. You might spend that and nothing ever goes wrong with it, and then it wasn't worth it. But um, I decided to go for it.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, with because it's a portable and you're going to be taking it places and all that sort of thing. It's a peace of mind kind of thing. I mean, you could do it or don't do it. I'm not going to get any protection on it, but I mean, it's I wouldn't say that it's a bad idea. Especially with the sunlight factor, because the sunlight factor is so much bigger of a deal than most people think, because there are so many ways it can go bad. Like that little scenario that I painted of a mom coming over and visiting and being like, "Oh, I need to clean these windows," and your Quest was perfectly in the shade. There was nothing ever going to happen to it, but you just there's these things that you can't anticipate that might happen. What about these videos where you see people taking it to soccer fields or to the forest, like ZimTalk 5 took us to the forest? People taking it places. Are you going to try that, or initially do you want to just kind of keep it in the comfort of your home initially and not screw around like that?
I have no interest in taking it outside. I think it's interesting that was it the tested video where they tried taking it outside and they said, well, the tracking just didn't work. It was a bust. But then ZimTalk took it outside and said he kind of got it to work. And then there was the one where they were playing Apex Construct on a football field, and that worked. So it's almost like hit and miss whether the tracking will even work outdoors. And then you're taking the risk of getting sunlight through the lenses burning your screen. Um, so that's interesting, but I have no interest in taking it outside. I'm happy to use it indoors.
But what about,
I
wait a minute, what about the idea, what about the aspect of like this? Well, in your house, like wherever you're living right now, I mean, I don't know if it's an apartment house or whatever it is, but what's the biggest what's the biggest play space you can create in the different rooms of your house? Can you create a giant play space? Would you be tempted at all, like to be able to run around and just like you're playing Orbis VR and you could actually walk like 100 feet in one direction or something naturally?
Yeah, I have a decent space in the living room in my apartment. It's not huge or anything, but I think it'll be enough that I'll be content. Um, Maybe if I don't know, I have some opportunity where there's some like really large room um, for I don't know, some kind of an event that I just happen to have access to. I might be like, hey, I'll bring my Quest and try it out. But I
Hey,
think I'll
maybe at
be
your school
content.
gymnasium.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I have this beautiful idea of like creating, well, apparently my dream died, but I had this tilt brush dream that included a school gymnasium, and like you make this gigantic tilt brush art thing that is like huge, a huge gigantic area with like trees and like a river and stuff. I mean, you'd probably have to spend all week making it practically. And then you let all these different people put it on and walk around it. I mean, if that worked, now apparently it's not going to work because like the Oculus, it's I think it's 15 by 15 is kind of what they said. I've heard different stories. I've heard 20 by 20. I've heard 15 by 15. Of course, if you go into like the developer mode, like this guy with Apex Construct that's running around in this soccer field, and do you think he really needs to roll around like that on the grass? Probably not. But yeah, we're all going to do that. But what was I saying about oh yeah, so it's limited to like 15 by 15 or 20 by 20, but then if you go into the developer mode and you turn off the guardian boundary, then you can go past that. Now, I don't know, but then I think it also depends on the game itself, like whether or not you'd even, like, could I go to this park and do this with tilt brush? Could I create a gigantic tilt brush thing that just extends for hundreds of feet if I go into developer mode and turn that off? I don't know. These are all the questions. These are the burning questions, right? These are more important questions than like whether Vader Immortal's any good.
Yeah, you'd have to think logically that there would be a limit on how big you can make your canvas in Tilt Brush, but you don't know until someone tests it.
Did you see in this video where the guy's on like a city street and they only show it for like a split second, but he's like standing on a regular city street for a second there, and these other guys are standing around him, and I'm just looking at that city street and I'm looking at that curb, and I'm thinking that curb is you're gonna twist your ankle, you're gonna break your ankle, because that's the worry. I mean, you could go to a parking lot or something, but you got to make sure that it's a clear, flat area if you're doing something crazy like this. And of course, I like right there it is right there. Of course, it's 7 seconds delayed for you, and everybody on the stream as well. So it will only be for somebody watching this later, where I'll be timed up with the video, I guess. But yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that would make me nervous. Like you said, anything just like a curb that you could trip on. Yeah, you're walking around the world blindfolded, so like you said, you got to have spotters.
Okay, so when it comes to the software that you're buying this Quest, and you got to pay tax and everything, and you got a protection plan for it as well. So, it all starts to add up after a while.
It does.
So how much money does that leave you for games? Are you just going to buy like 1 or 2 games initially? I mean, there's a lot of good free stuff too. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm into it a ways. Um, I grabbed a couple of games during the spring flash sale that Oculus had a couple of weeks back. Games that were confirmed to be cross-buy.
See, you're the
So
educated consumer right there. You know way more than just the average Johnny come lately.
yeah, so I grabbed I Expect You to Die. That was on sale for $15, so I'm glad I grabbed that. I grabbed Tilt Brush for $10, and I was not perfect. I knew I was taking a bit of a risk. I was not perfect. I grabbed 11 Table Tennis on sale for $10, not realizing that it's not a launch title. So we're still not sure when 11 Table Tennis is coming, but whenever it does, I have it.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually a good question too. What about, okay, so we got these 50 games, well, 50, not games, but we've got 50 things, 50 plus things that are going to be in the store. So we got a lot of stuff to play around with. And there's like 30 something games or whatever. And then you got like experiences and apps and stuff like that. But one of the questions we have to ask is the aftermath. For example, okay, so this is May 21st, and then so like next Tuesday is going to be May 28th. Is there going to be a couple of games coming out on May 28th, and then I don't know what the next Tuesday is after that. It's probably like June something. And so basically my question is there going to be a bit of a drought after this initial launch where we might not get anything else for like 3 weeks? And then stuff starts trickling out on every Tuesday. Maybe a couple of little things trickle out here. And then a week goes by, another couple of little things trickle out. Or are we going to be looking at like an extended drought for a little while, and it'll be like a whole nother phase of software eventually comes along?
I think things will just trickle out. We already know that Fuji is coming not too far down the line. Um, and then there are all those, rumored titles where devs have said that we're working on bringing this to the Quest, but we're waiting on being approved for the store and things like that. I think we'll see things trickle out all throughout the summer. Um, I hope so anyway.
Yeah. I mean, stuff will definitely trickle out. I just don't know because, like, I've gone through so many console launches over my lifespan. And they're all a little bit different. But sometimes what you do is you'll get that initial launch burst where they have a whole group of games that are ready for that launch. And then sometimes it's like for the first month, there's nothing. Like nothing comes out for a month. And then it starts trickling out. And then you start to have games triple. I don't know if they're going to do that or if it's going to be like, no, every Tuesday, like maybe on the 28th, we get, I'm pulling up the top 60 most wanted Oculus Quest games on VR Game Rankings just to see, because I'm trying to think of some of the games that aren't day one. I know there's a number of games that aren't day one.
Like Pixel Ripped.
Yeah, The Climb. The Climb is probably like fourth quarter. Like that might be a while. But like Nostos, fourth quarter. Racket NX, of like all the games that aren't going to be available the day this thing comes out, I think Racket NX might be one of my most wanted games that isn't going to be right at launch. But yeah, Pixel Ripped, Chronos is going to come later. Shadow Legend VR is coming later. 11 Table Tennis is coming later. Sariento VR is coming later. Honor and Duty D-Day, which is like a first-person shooter that's on PSVR, that's going to come later. Death Horizon, which actually looks really cool and colorful, that's coming later. Rhythm of the Universe is coming later, da-da-da-da-da. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can still trickle out over the next weeks and months and stuff, but I don't know how they're going to play this. Like, I don't know if they'll have a bit of a drought season, because the thing is, usually when you have a launch of a system, usually you only get like 23, 24 games or so. And so, but we're getting 50, man. And so if I was like a developer that had a game coming out right at this launch, I don't know that I would be so happy if a bunch of new games are constantly coming out, because it's like, man, I'm already fighting with 49 other things to like get recognized here. And then there's also going to be games trickling out right away as well. I kind of would look forward to a bit of a drought season if I was one of these launch developers.
Yeah, I didn't think about it from the perspective of a developer that you could get lost in the shuffle if you're one of the launch titles. So I'll have to rely heavily on their marketing to be the launch title that everyone wants.
So speaking of the games that you're looking at, like, well, I know you got a couple of these games in advance because of the cross-buy factor, and you're trying to, be smart about it, which is a great idea, and that was a great thing to do. But just in terms of like everything that's going to be out there tomorrow, is there, like, if you could only have one game, if you could only play one Quest game for the next 3 days, what would be your game? Would it be Beat Saber? I mean, who knows? I don't know. It could be anything, right?
Especially when you put it that way, if you could only pick one game, it would be Job Simulator. I don't know why, but ever since I started, watching VR videos and reading articles, if there was one game that I could get to try, it would be Job Simulator. It just looks like so much fun. It looks like being in a toy box. So that's one of the ones I plan on getting and downloading tomorrow.
Yeah, well, one thing I might say about, I don't mean to turn you away from Job Simulator, but would there, like, are you just going to buy that sight unseen? Like, are you going to try to wait to see if have you seen a review or anything on it anywhere or anything like that? Because the only this is the worry that I would have about Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator coming later this year. That's one that's going to come later. And then I'm guessing Rick and Morty will probably come eventually as well. But one concern I would have is like, and I just threw the trailer on for Job Simulator, but it's going to be delayed by like 7 seconds or whatever. But this game, like, you're looking at it and it looks very simple. It looks very cartoony, and it looks like, oh yeah, this will work absolutely fine on an Oculus Quest because look at it. The graphics are so simplistic, yada, yada, yada. Well, I remember I had a 970 graphics card, and I had like an i5 2500K Intel CPU that was ancient. It was from the year 2011. And sometimes I struggled in this game, and it wasn't the graphical designs. What it was the physics. It was like the physics calculations. Like even Alchemy Labs, like they came out and said that this was way back in like 2016. They were saying that Job Simulator is, it doesn't run too well with these older Intel processors, that you're kind of better off. I think they even actually made like a special beta version that was specific. Like they had a special patch version for older CPUs that you can enable in Steam. And I had to do that. And then I got better performance, because the thing is, the amazing thing about Job Simulator is almost everything you see, you can pick it up, you can touch it, you can grab it, you can drop it, you can put it in things. Like everything is like interactive. But the problem with that is it all has to have physics. And so they're on this Snapdragon 835. I mean, I wish them the best of luck, but like Job Simulator worked good on PlayStation VR, but Rick and Morty was kind of craptacular on PlayStation VR. So are you just like, after me saying all of this, are you still just going to be like, no, I'm not tripping, I'm buying it early in the morning, I'm not even going to worry about it? Or will you maybe try to wait and see if somebody says something about this maybe? Or what do you think?
No, I'm still gonna get it and not worry about it. You haven't
Okay.
dissuaded me. I mean, you make a good point, and I hope that they've done a good job on the, behind the scenes optimizations, so that it does run smoothly. And it's good to know that they have um, one target to work for, unlike on PC where you have all these different targets that you have to try and hit. They have one specific target to optimize for, and hopefully they've done a good job. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm definitely gonna still pick it up.
That's a good point, actually. That's the difference, and that's a beautiful thing. Now, one of the beautiful things that you are going to experience by jumping into this Oculus Quest and being 100% gung ho about the Oculus Quest, and you're going to be experiencing all these games along with so many other people, and you're going to have this shared experience. That's probably going to be the most exciting thing about this whole thing. Is like, I remember the early days of Xbox 360, and everybody that bought the Xbox 360, they started doing like Xbox Live Arcade. That was like when it first got started, of like all the little indie games, that were on Xbox Live Arcade. And what would happen is there would be like a new big indie game that would hit Xbox Live Arcade. And like everybody that had an Xbox 360, it's like everybody bought that game. And then we would all talk about it on the forums, and we were all having kind of the same. And then a new game would come out, and we would bounce over to that new game. And so that's kind of a cool thing about this, is once like the Oculus Quest subreddit finally settles down and goes back to normalcy, and people all calm the F down and like get over the honeymoon period, and then you can just get into pure enjoyment of what everybody is sharing together, you're going to have this shared experience that's probably going to be super cool.
Yeah. You mentioned, everyone having a shared experience, kind of getting together. And I was just thinking this weekend with all the different live streams that were going on, that it's such an awesome community. There's a lot of places on the internet that are really horrible and nasty and toxic, and um, everyone in your audience and all around YouTube and Reddit and all the VR fans seem like really great people. So I'm really thankful to be getting into that kind of community where you can have those shared experiences and um, make friends and have a great
Yeah.
time.
Do you think the reason why our community is so friendly and accommodating and people are pretty cool for the most part is because VR isn't mainstream? We are kind of this like niche that, we're kind of like underdogs, and we're kind of like rallying together. Do you think if VR really did go mainstream, it would get just as toxic and bad as everything else? Or do you think it's is part of it because maybe VR might skew to a bit of an older audience, or maybe because financially you need, VR is not exactly cheap, and so that kind of skews itself to an older, more mature audience as well, or is it all those factors combined?
Yeah, I am a little bit worried that as it grows, as it becomes more accessible, like you said, sometimes the community is skewed toward um, uh, older, like adults who have enough money for gaming PCs and headsets, Well, now with the Quest, it might be opening up a little bit. There might be just more people, and there could be a lot more younger people. And I am a little bit worried that it could become a bigger community and then thereby less close knit and less accommodating. But hopefully, the kind of interactive, interpersonal nature of VR can help hold some of that back. It's a little bit harder to be mean and nasty to someone when it feels like you're in the same room with them and it feels like you're looking at them.
Okay, wait until you get into Rec Room, because all those ideas will go right out the window. Because you're gonna have see the thing is a lot of the multiplayer games, it's not just going to be Quest gamers. You're going to be playing with people that have PSVR, people on Rifts, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be the Wild West. Are you looking forward to that? Like, are you much of a multiplayer type person, or do you prefer like more single player games, or what's your bag when it comes to like multiplayer, single player type stuff?
Um, so far, I've definitely been a single player kind of person. Not I'm not into competitive kinds of gaming or mechanics at all. However, I am very interested in the social um, aspects of VR. Like I'm very interested to get into Rec Room, um, but I might be more interested when the quests eventually come where it's cooperative, as opposed to something like paintball or if they ever get like a Rec Royale on there where it's competitive. I'm definitely interested in big screen um, and some of those social things, even though I typically have not been a very big multiplayer person.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's certainly interesting to be online with other people. The downside for you, I got to tell you though, you're a female, and your voice gives it away immediately. I remember in the very earliest days of Xbox Live, this was on the original Xbox. Like this is dating me way back. So when the very first Xbox came out, it was about to die. Like it was the end of the Xbox One era, the original not Xbox One, but the old Xbox. They did Xbox Live at the very end, like the last year or whatever. It was like in beta, and I was in the Xbox Live beta. And way back at those times, way back in those days, they had all these voice filters that you could use. And so, like, you could make your voice sound like a robot or like a Darth Vader, or, like you could put these different effects on your voice, and then people couldn't tell. They wouldn't necessarily know if you're a guy or a girl, but you're like, I don't believe we have anything like that. Like that kind of went away. And one thing I've noticed is like if you're in a lobby with like 9 dudes and then all of a sudden a girl comes into that lobby, I hate to say it, but it's like all the dudes go back to like being in preschool or something. It's like I don't get it. I don't understand. But I'm sure you're well familiar with how this
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, I'm definitely bracing for the worst of that and hoping for the best.
But it'll still be fun to try it, and like I would encourage you to try some of these online experiences, big screen and any of these things like that where you're with multiple people, and just hope for the best and see what happens. But so besides Job Simulator, like let's say Job Simulator didn't exist, what's the next one you would go to?
Another one that I'm looking forward to is Beat Saber.
So what about the prices though? Are like for example, if Beat Saber was $20, would that have jumped up your list, and then now it's like $30, maybe I'll wait on it or something, or maybe because there is a demo for this at least. Thank God there's a little demo
Yeah,
for some of these.
I'm not gonna lie. I read the article about how they're coming out of early access and launching on the Quest and raising the price to $30, and I was like, what? Like I gotta pay more? And since it's not cross buy, I didn't have the opportunity to just buy it beforehand at $20 before the price goes up. Um, so I was, a little bit disappointed. I'm like, $30, Um, but I'm just going to accept it, I guess, because from what I've heard, Beat Saber doesn't really go on sale. If I thought there was a chance that it would go on sale soon, maybe I'd think about waiting, but I know I want to play Beat Saber. I probably want to play it right away. So, and I'm probably going to end up paying $30 for it no matter what. So, um,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
guess I'm going to
at
accept
least
it.
I think there's 2 songs in the demo. I thought I heard that maybe. There's 2 songs. Did you hear that, or did you hear anything about the demo?
I read that there were supposed to be 2 songs in the demo, and then one of the people who got the early Quest shipped from Walmart um, was able to play the demo, and they actually took a video of it, and they said that's all there is just the one song. It is Escape, which is the first song that I want to play.
That's my favorite. Be careful, it'll make you cry.
It might. I feel like I might have a similar reaction to you when you described your first time playing. Um, but
You know, it's funny.
yeah.
Actually, wait a second. If it's the full entire song, like if you can play through the full entire song, honestly, that's pretty much the only song I play whenever I play Beat Saber. So I guess I don't have to buy Beat Saber. Like there's really only like 3 or 4 songs I would ever play in Beat Saber. But if you did get 2 free songs, you could probably live off of that for a little while, anyways, and then a little bit later on grab it. Okay, so besides Beat Saber, anything else tickle your fancy in terms of what you're looking for?
Um, Another one that I'm looking at is actually Virtual Desktop, which might not sound terribly exciting. It's not a game, but I'm really interested in, you know, productivity and just like doing daily work in VR. I'm just fascinated by the novelty of it, I guess. So what I'm already planning is that after the last day of school for students, we have a day coming up that's a work from home day, where we're doing, like finalizing grades or working on lesson plans for next year or something. Um, but we can work from home. And I'm thinking of leaving my laptop plugged into Ethernet to my router at home and going to Starbucks with my Quest and trying to do work from Starbucks in virtual reality just because,
And
like
then
just to
being
be a
robbed. No.
weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already thought about,
Yeah.
you know, not
Don't
like
have
not
your
bringing my
purse just sitting there.
yeah,
Yeah.
not bringing my wallet with me. Like I can pay for Starbucks with my app on my phone and like keeping my phone like tucked under my leg or something or in my pocket. Like making sure that I don't have anything that someone's just gonna swipe from me. But yeah,
Or
that
they
might be
just put
really
a
cool.
they'll put a piece of tape and a big paper that says "kick me," on the back.
Yeah.
Because I probably would do that if I saw somebody wearing a headset somewhere, just because it's so hilarious. But well, one thing I would caution you on in terms of like I understand the novelty factor, and there is going to be a there's going to be a novelty factor all together. Just the whole entire thing is going to be a novelty factor, like using Pass Through Plus, setting up your Guardian, being in a VR experience, and then like going through your Guardian and having it kick into the black and white view. I mean, all of that is going to be new to you, and so it's going to be exciting and thrilling in the beginning. But in terms of like actually doing like legitimate productivity and stuff like that, I think we need to go way higher resolutions. Like, how there was there's a new screen that's coming that's like 3,400 and 3456 by 3456 for each eye, which is beyond the
Yeah.
2160 by 2160 each eye. Like, see, even 2160 by 2160 each eye, it's not quite monitor resolution where you could really actually do legitimate work and have like multiple monitors spawned all around and you're like doing all this stuff. I think if you went to 3456 by 3456 for each eye, then maybe that would be at the point where you're at monitor resolution and you could do actual work in the headset. The other thing to remember too is like, I mean, I don't want to put bad ideas in your head, but when you play VR, like I feel like in these early days of VR, like we pay a price when we put on a VR headset, not a motion sickness price, but more of a like fatigue, eye
Mhm.
strain. I always kind of talk about like you've been in a movie theater where it was a 3 hour movie in the afternoon and you get out and it's like 3 p.m. And like in the old days when like you would go out of the movie and you would go right to like straight into the parking lot and it's just bam, boom, you're in sunlight. You know that feeling that you would have when
Yeah,
you're in the dark? It's kind of
sure.
like that. And so like that's why I hope the Valve, that's one of the hopes of the Valve Index with the the really high refresh rates, 144 hertz and all of that. The hope is that maybe some of that price that you pay is going to be discounted a little bit. We're not going to have as much eye strain. But with the Oculus Quest, it's OLED. The resolution is, Vive Pro resolution. You're talking 72 hertz and that kind of stuff. You're still going to like it once you're in there for 45 minutes, it's probably going to wear on you a little bit.
Yeah, I don't imagine that I'll be able to, sit for hours on end in VR, not to mention the battery probably wouldn't let me anyhow. But I think it'll be interesting just to try it out and see what it's like.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be cool, a cool experiment. And then just, streaming things from your PC. Like one thing I need to figure out, like I've never done this, is ripping a 3D Blu-ray and then getting like people talk about like Ready Player One, Avatar, or different 3D movies or like Gravity or something, like really good movies that happen to be really good in 3D and then actually putting that onto your Quest and not necessarily maybe watching the entire movie, but watching some of it to check it out because when you're using like 3D glasses and stuff, like there's all this annoying crosstalk and all kinds of little issues where when you're doing 3D in an actual VR headset, you're getting a perfect view for each eye. So it's like as good as 3D can possibly get pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Um, I've had some mediocre experiences with 3D movies, and I think it's, partly because the, the polarized lens glasses are not doing it perfectly. So I'd definitely be interested in checking out some movies, some 3D movies in VR. I have to figure out where I'm going to get them and getting them onto the Quest, but I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, luckily we have a thing called YouTube. No, but there are a lot of I mean, there's guides for everything on how to do all these crazy things. Like I know if I like on my Go, people are playing stuff like Quake and Doom and stuff, and I haven't really like sat down and figured out like how do you sideload stuff? Like what is the process? I haven't actually like sat down and figured all that stuff out, but there's going to be sideloading on this as well, and so there's going to be some interesting little tricks that people can do. And what about this? Have do you have any ideas of possibly like doing your own gameplay and like gaming science teacher is the next great YouTube star? What about that?
Well, the last time that you had me on your show, I noticed that there were one or two people in the chat, and maybe someone who left a comment afterwards, who seemed like they would be interested in seeing my actual first time impressions in real 6DoF VR, as someone who has never tried it before. The only thing I've tried so far is a little bit of Google Cardboard. And I thought I thought about it, and I thought, why not? So, I do plan on trying to um, record or capture uh, my first time going into the Quest tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and upload that if anyone wants to check it out, if they're interested to, see those kind of first impressions. Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll do
that's
that
a
so
great
anyone could
idea.
check it out.
You absolutely should do that. That is a really good idea. Like you could just like go through the setup process and first contact and stuff like that and just kind of but at the same time you want to try to just enjoy the moment as well because whenever you're recording yourself it's always like, "Oh, I got to be this other person." Where if you're just like playing it yourself. But yeah, either way, whatever you do, it would be cool to check that out. Um, okay, well, I know we've been going for a little while here. You just let me know if you need to bounce real quick. We can go a little bit longer if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of So anything else about any of the games or experiences? What about like some of the non-gaming experiences? Unfortunately, I don't think there are. Let me go to Upload VR and see what the free stuff was again, because I don't remember what exactly is free and what isn't. Because there are some cool experiences, but some of them are costing money. And then there is going to be some free experiences, like BOGO is free. Let's see. Okay, so Big Screen Beta is free. Netflix, what about that? That's in the news that Netflix is going to be available tomorrow. Are you going to, do you have a Netflix subscription? Would you check that out at all?
Yeah, I just found out um, very shortly here that Netflix would be available, which is great news. I have a Netflix account and I hardly touch it because I'm always watching YouTube. Um, and so that'll be really cool. I'm definitely going to check out Netflix. I mean, it's free, so why not? I'll download that and check it out.
Absolutely. And like YouTube VR, we found out that that's coming and they're like people will say that all 360 videos, all 180 videos, it's all garbage, but that's not true. There is some good stuff out there. And so you'll probably have to do some Google searches to find like what is the best 180 videos and stuff like that. But there's also like Poker Stars VR, although I gotta say, after listening to the F Reality podcast, it does sound like Poker Stars VR is pretty freaking rough. Zimtalk 5 didn't seem to have the nicest things to say about Poker Stars VR, but that is free. And it's also a social thing as well. Rec Room, of course, is free. Big Screen Beta. Do you know that I've never been in big screen ever?
Mm.
Ever on any platform. I don't know why. I've just never done it. So I guess I should probably do it on that. BOGO. What about VR chat? Everybody loves VR chat.
I'm not I'm not in a hurry to check out VR chat. It seems a little it seems like the crowd in VR chat is a little out there for me. Um, so
But
it's probably not one
for science, to just to
for
no,
science.
actually though, honestly, I think you should try it out just to see like how bad is it? Is it really as bad as everybody says it is? Is it really as terrible as I've actually never really experienced that either because I tried VR chat, but it was when I had my previous computer and it was just horrible performance. Like it just like I was like on the outside looking in. The performance was just absolutely garbage, and I never went back into it. So that might be something I'll try on my on the Quest too. Let's
Yeah.
see. Bait. What about the fishing? There's a free to play fishing game called Bait, which is by Resolution Games. That's the studio that is doing Angry Birds and something else, I think, as well. But Bait is going to be out there. Any idea? I mean, any interest in doing some virtual fishing?
Not particularly. I think I'll probably end up downloading that if I, bring my Quest home and maybe want to show my dad. Um, so since it's free, I can download that and say, hey, do you want to try fishing in VR? But um,
You should probably
doesn't.
try like every free thing there is. I mean, you might as well try it. Like even if you're just going to try it for 10 minutes and never do it again, and you can always delete it. What about epic roller coasters? I heard that there's going to be two roller coaster. Oliver D in chat says VR chat, 1 hour of my life I'll never get back. But epic roller coasters, I heard there's two roller coaster basically tracks that are free and then you can pay for them after that. Do you think you'll get like motion sick with that? What do you think?
That's a good question. So since I've tried Google Cardboard, of course, there's a bajillion dumb, stupid roller coasters for that. There's like one or two that are maybe okay, and then a ton that are awful. Um, and um, it was really interesting. There was some little teeny tiny demo that Google had as part of the cardboard package that demonstrated different types of motion to you and um, how acceleration or trying to visually simulate acceleration while you're not physically feeling it is what can make you sick. And it was a really interesting demo. Like I felt it, but it didn't seem really bad to me. I feel like I'm not nervous about getting too motion sick. Obviously, I'm gonna, take it easy and not try and go too wild right at first. But if there's tracks on Epic Roller Coaster that are free, I'll definitely give them a try.
Yeah, so a counterpoint in chat is Blue that says, I've got a few hundred hours in VR chat. It's the most popular multiplayer VR game for a reason. Yeah, I mean, you cannot deny the popularity. So there is, I mean, people are into VR chat for, like
Yeah.
Soren B says, VR chat is amazing. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure the curiosity will get the better of me, just maybe not on day one.
Yeah. And it would be nice, like VR chat, there's an example of it would be cool if they did have voice filters, where you could change your voice and be somebody, have your voice totally different. Yeah, so in terms of like some of the paid for stuff that you can get that's experiential, there's Nature Treks, Ocean Rift, National Geographic VR Explorer, Guided Tai Chi, Wander, Apollo 11. I don't know if
Hmm.
you've looked at like the trailers for any of those, but do any of those like look like something you'd be excited about? I heard Ocean Rift's kind of good.
Yeah. None of those are like right away. I'm gonna, buy them full price on day one or anything. But Ocean Rift and Apollo 11, um, and Nature Treks, um, are definitely ones that are on my list. I might wait for a sale or something like that. But those are definitely ones that I'm interested. And the National Geographic, I'm interested in checking all of those out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I just tried very recently Wolves in the Walls, which came to Oculus, and I thought it was fantastic. But as I was experiencing it, I was looking at like the characters and everything, and I was thinking. I actually thought about the quest when I was inside it, and I was thinking, man, you know what? This isn't going to run on the quest. Like I can see that some of these things just aren't going to run on the quest. But it's too bad because there's so many cool non-gaming experiences that if they could somehow port them over to the quest would be awesome.
Hmm.
I mean, you got
Yeah.
Henry, Lost, Alamet, Dear Angelica. See, I think like Dear Angelica probably could be ported over. I think Alumet could probably be ported over. I heard, did I hear somewhere that Henry is being ported over to the quest?
Yeah. I remember hearing that Henry is coming, not right away. Was it a John Carmack tweet?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
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 I'd
So,
be interested to see Henry. And yeah, like you mentioned, you were talking about Wolves in the Walls, and it looked interesting, it looked cute. And I know it's not, no one has made any mention that it could ever possibly come to Quest. And I know there's going to be titles that I will never see with the Quest, like Lone Echo. That would be an amazing game to play, but I'm not going to be able to play it. But overall, I feel very satisfied with all the titles that I have known about for a long time, going all the way back to Job Simulator and I Expect You to Die and Tilt Brush. Um, I feel really satisfied with the titles that I've seen other people play and I've wanted to play and what I'm going to have access to on the Quest that I think I can be okay with knowing that there's going to be some higher end titles that I'm just not going to get, and I'm all right with that.
I think you'd be pretty encouraged, especially because there's a lot of hardcore PC VR players that have gotten the quest or they've tried the quest, and some of them like weren't really excited about it, but they felt like they had to do it anyway because they're like YouTubers or whatever and they know that people are interested, and their minds have been changed. Like MRTV, Sebastian, I don't know that he was like super hyped to be playing with a standalone headset, and he took it with, he got one like a loaner or something that he took on vacation and had it for a number of days, and he's just been ranting and raving about how amazing it is. Paradise Decay, of course, recently got his quest a couple of days ago, and he's been playing stuff on it, and he's tweeted out that some of the stuff he's been in, you almost don't notice any difference whatsoever. And I know we're kind of maybe taking it a little bit too far with some of that, but I think it's the sixth DOF. I think it's having true hand presence and being able to move in and out, and then also having the larger play spaces and having that Guardian that is so easy to use. I think there's a lot of good things here, man. This is exciting. We're only so many hours away. It is getting closer and closer, especially people that are on the East Coast. That, well, you're on the East Coast, right? You could have went to like a midnight launch, man.
I don't think my Best Buy is opening up at midnight, but you said that, and I was like, oh man, I could get it at midnight, but
there's
but I do have
always a
class to teach in
Walmart.
the morning.
There's always a Walmart that's open at midnight. Although someone in chat earlier was saying that Walmart might not get their units until like Thursday or something, which I'm like, oh, no, don't tell me that. Because, see, I have one reserved at GameStop, but I have to wait till 10 a.m. And like there's a Walmart not too far from me that opens up at 6 a.m. And I was just thinking, man, if I could grab it at 6 a.m., F that. I'd grab it at 6 a.m. and I'll just go to GameStop and just say refund my money. Thanks anyways. But yeah, I don't know. But it's exciting. Well, you know, we've been going for quite a while. I really appreciate you coming on here, Shorty, Short Power 24, gaming science teacher. I super appreciate it, especially due to the fact that I was totally unprepared for this episode. You are a lifesaver, to be sure, because as people mentioned it earlier in the show, that I love having a guest on because I can kind of kick back and relax. And that's the God's honest truth, man. It takes all the pressure off. It is so awesome.
You don't have to do the legwork.
Exactly. I just throw out a few questions here or there and let you run with it, you know. But yeah, thanks so much. But absolutely, I mean, we're definitely going to be bringing you on. I want to give you some time, though, you know, like a couple of weeks. I'll give you a couple of weeks with it, but I'll certainly jump over to your channel when you get that video. Make sure to tweet that out or something when you got that video up and running. Because I'd be curious to check that out about your first
Hopefully
experience.
I get it to work.
Yeah. Well, just take your time. You could always do it again. And even though it might not necessarily be really the first time, we don't know that. You know, it's called the theater of the mind type of thing, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, we'll definitely have to bring you back on again. Once again, super appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us on this. You know, it was the night before Questmas. It's Questmas Eve.
Merry Questmas Eve, everyone. I'm excited. I'm excited for everyone who's getting a Quest or a Rift S. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Absolutely. This is cool. Okay, I'll go ahead and hang up on you now, but thanks so much, and I'll definitely be talking to you later. Appreciate it so much.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, sorry about that awkward outro right there. I am the master of awkward conversation enders. I'm not good at that. That's one of the problems I have. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for our episode, guys. That was cool. That was fun. I could have done that for like 3 hours. I just don't think she could have probably done that for 3 hours because like there is just unlimited things I could, like all these little things that pop into my mind about like different Quest games that are coming out, the battery life of the Quest, charging up the Quest, using external power adapters to charge it. Like there's a ton of million things. There's millions and tons and millions of things to potentially consider. I did hear on a number of different episodes of various YouTubers that a lot of them are getting somewhere between 2 and 3 hours on the battery life, but it does seem to have a bit more battery life than your standard Oculus Go. So I think there's like an extra half an hour there. So because the Go is like barely 2 hours, if that, and sometimes not even 2 hours. And it's kind of sounding like with the Quest, it's about 2.5-ish hours, although it might depend on which game you're running or what you're actually doing in there. But that's good. That's good news. And then it's about 2 hours to completely charge it. So that's kind of a bit of a downer. But when you think about it, you're going to play for 2 hours. You're going to need a break. So it's not a problem. And how often does anybody go into VR and play for a full solid 2 hours anyway? Like I very rarely ever do that. I typically play for about a 45-minute burst. That's kind of what I do. And there's also people out there. We got to remember, there are people out there that don't care at all about the Oculus Quest. They don't care at all about the Rift S. This week is just going to be a disaster for those people. Although, think about this, ladies and gentlebots. Remember Valve. Don't forget about Valve, right? Valve loves to rain on parades. What could Valve do tomorrow to rain on this parade, folks? What could Valve do? Gee, I don't know. Maybe a trailer for an incredible VR game. Maybe the first sneak peek at one of the Valve Index games that they've been working on. That could rain on a parade of Quest and Rift S and get people thinking, oh my God, I need an Index. Maybe a brand new video that kind of shows off certain things that we haven't gotten a really good video from Valve that kind of breaks down the whole Index thing yet. Like, where's that video? Remember when the HTC Vive first came out? And we had that long HTC Vive video with Chet Falazek and the big green screen room, and they had people sitting on a couch and everything, and it was like they were unpacking their Vives and all that, putting up the lighthouses, and it was a long commercial. We need something like that for the Valve Index, where they kind of explain all these little things that the Valve Index does. And if they were to drop that tomorrow, that would be perfect timing, counter programming. That would be interesting. So we might get some Valve Index news tomorrow. That would be the day for it, I would think. So we'll have to see what happens there. But guess what, guys? I will be back tomorrow. Our episode tomorrow will be at this same time, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So I will have played Vader Immortal. I will have seen a lot of different things, tried a lot of different things. I may have even picked up a Rift S. I might even have a Rift S here. I don't know if maybe I'll have played Stormland. Maybe MRTV will be right. Maybe Stormland hits tomorrow. I don't think so. I think that would be the dumbest idea ever. If Stormland comes out tomorrow, that is a dumb idea. It would be so dumb. I can't tell you how dumb. I know you PC VR players, you want Stormland. I know that. I understand that. We all want to play Stormland. But god damn, would that be a dumb idea to bring Stormland out tomorrow? Because there's too much going on tomorrow. You bring Stormland out when there's nothing going on. Or you let people know Stormland is coming on July 23rd, and then July 23rd is Stormland Day. Like, you don't drop Stormland in the middle of a freaking hurricane. That's not what you do. But I don't know. Maybe it'll happen. MRTV said it will happen. So we'll see. Is MRTV the new Nostradamus Jr.? He might be. No, I think it's dumb, Sophie. Dear Sophie says, why dumb? It's dumb because there's too much, man. We've got enough. We've got plenty of stuff going on. We don't need anything else. What about everybody's Golf VR? PlayStation VR. Everybody's Golf VR comes out tomorrow. Nobody gives a rat's ass about that. So it's like, yeah, there's just too much going on. Our little pea brains can only handle so much. And Stormland would cause an overload to the circuits. I think it's a bad idea. But I will see everybody tomorrow at about 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Questmas 2019, baby. Oculus Quest Day 2019. I got the day off work. I'm sleeping in, or maybe not. Maybe I'm going to Walmart at 6 a.m. Still got to figure it out. But I'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good one. Take it easy. Later.